Hey guys, Coach David here. If you didn't know, we are getting ready to open our doors on May 15th. That's this coming Friday. Classes will be on. There will be a little bit different schedule than what we've typically had. We have a few more additions to classes. If you haven't checked that out, please see the video that Steve and I did last week, the Facebook Live that we did last Thursday, or check out his email that has a copy of that actual schedule in it. What I wanted to talk to you guys about today is the actual process of getting back into the gym and getting back into working out. So what we want to do is encourage you guys to make sure that you approach this with the appropriate expectations. So it's been about 6-7 weeks since we've been in the gym, since we've been moving barbells, since we've been doing pull-ups, since we've been doing all these movements that we're really, really excited to get back into doing. But as you are getting back into it, I urge and encourage you to go a little slower than you think you need to. Don't come in and rip roar and go crazy and end up hurting yourself in the first 7 to 10 days, because that will absolutely put a damper on the experience that is opening back up the gym. So the first one is to temper your expectations and to go a little bit slower than you think you need to. That would mean maybe we need to decrease our loading a little bit. Maybe we need to decrease our repetitions a little bit, just to make sure that we're not going to find ourselves in a position where we are injuring ourselves, or we are coming back too hot, hitting it too hard, and then we're out of it longer than we think we need to be, and or we're back into this position of being back at home again. So that's the first thing. Second thing, guys, is whether or not you are a 5 times or 6 times a week person, it's going to be very beneficial for everyone if we think about doing maybe 3 or 4 days per week. And especially this is right out of the cusp, or right out of the gate, where we are implementing a reservation limiting classes for the first time ever. It's not something that I'm super excited about, but I think it's definitely necessary, something that we need to do as we come back into opening up our doors in this pandemic that's going on, making sure that we're doing it as smartly and safely as possible, to reserve our classes or to cap our classes at a 12-person limit. We'll have plenty of room for each one of those people in the class at that point. We'll have space on the rigs, we'll have space in the racks, all different. There'll be lots of space for those 12 people in the class. But as that's the case, if you are a Monday through Saturday type of person, that might not be the reality of the situation. Coming 3 to 4 times a week will make it easier for other people to come in 3 to 4 times a week as well, and make sure that we're not finding ourselves in a place where we're constantly sitting on a wait list, or we're unable to get into classes that we want to. And that kind of couples in with the point 1, which was taking it a little bit slower. So whether you are a 5 or 6 or 7 times a week person, coming back into it and doing 3 to 4 times a week would be a really easy way, or a beneficial way, first of all, for our schedule, for the gym, for other people in the gym, for our community, but then also for yourself, to make sure that we're not coming in and going full bore, or as I like to say, Yosemite Sam, shooting our guns super fast, super hard, burning ourselves out, and or burning the fuse out a little bit faster than we need to and or could. And then the last thing, guys, the third thing here is I want to encourage you guys that as you come back into the gym, so things are going to be a little bit different. We're going to have some spaces off limits to you guys as you're coming in. I encourage you guys to bring your stuff that you would normally bring to the gym, whether you have a gym bag, you have your shoes, your jump ropes, or whatever it might be. And we're going to talk a little bit more as the week goes on about like chalk bags, about counting poker chips, whiteboards, that type of thing. You can bring all those things for sure, but they're not going to be the cubby space that there typically would be for you to keep those things in. We're trying to space out the cubbies, so potentially in the first couple weeks we might get to the point that we can open those up and you can put your gym bag or your whiteboards or whatever it might be in there. But as we're getting back into it this Friday, please, if you're bringing that stuff, keep it in your car. Grab the stuff that you need. So if you know you need a jump rope for that day, if you know you need your lifters for that day or your belt for that day, grab those things. But don't bring them in the entire bag, thinking that the entire bag will be stored in one of the cubbies. Again, at least right out of the gates. We plan on closing the cubbies down. If we can, open them up, and it makes a smooth transition, a smooth flow. We don't have issues with people leaving equipment. That's one of the things we're going to be looking for in the first couple of weeks. So again, guys, first thing, make sure that you temper your expectations. We want to make sure that we're coming back into this thing smartly. We're not going to come back in full bore. We don't need to blow ourselves out again in the first 7 to 10 days. We want to make sure this is smooth. Second thing, we want to make sure if you are a 5 to 7 times a week person, let's start with 3 to 4 times a week. First of all, for you, making sure that we can do number one, but then also for the other people on our schedule in our community, so that make sure that everybody can get classes. If I guess maybe another point there is if you have the ability to come to one of those other classes, the 7 a.m., the 9 a.m., the noon class now, the new one, the 4:30, the 6, 7:15, please do that. If you have the ability to be a little bit more fluid with your schedule, there are some people who don't have that ability to be fluid. Those people who might need to go to the 5:30 a.m. because that's the only class that they can make throughout the day. Keep those guys in mind. So 3 to 4 times a week is what we're asking. As we get through this, you might realize that that's a silly expectation to set, and especially too now we're getting to the point that we're back into the flow of things. You might be able to get to 4 or 5 times a week again. And then lastly, guys, making sure that we're not bringing an unnecessary amount of equipment into the gym. Bring the stuff that you need. We want you to bring that stuff. But let's not try and create the cubby with all the stuff in it that then potentially gets left, and we have to figure out what we want to do with that. We don't want to be in that situation. We don't want to throw your stuff away, guys, and that's not the goal. And I guess the last thing here, guys, is as we're doing all 3 of these things, we want to make sure that you are doing, man, I'm going to have to cut this because I don't know what I was going to say there. And the third thing, guys, I guess this is the last thing, right? It kind of couples everything together. Our goal right now is to maintain health as much as possible. We're going to, I don't want to say put performance on the back burner, but especially as we're getting back into things and we're trying not to hurt ourselves, we're trying to do things smartly, we're trying to be in a safe environment. Getting back into the gym, we're not going to be so keyed in, or we shouldn't be so keyed in on our performances, our PRs, 1 rep maxes. That's not entirely the point of getting back into the gym right now. The point is to be improving our body's immunity, improving our body's health, and making sure that we stay as fit and healthy as we possibly can, while doing so in an environment that we enjoy, with the implements that we enjoy. That PR time, that performance orientation time will come again. But as we get back into it, let's not have that be the number one key most thing. That's most important. We're going to come back in. Your output's probably going to be a little bit diminished. Don't expect yourself to be able to hit the 1 rep maxes that you were doing right before you left the gym. And if we build up to a heavy single, think of it as a heavy single, right, as opposed to a 1 rep max. We're going for whatever that heaviest weight is that we can do that specific day. Don't compare it to where we were 8, 12, 16 weeks ago, because it's going to be a little bit different. And it'll be a little bit different for a while. The nice thing is that those things build back quickly and they come back relatively quickly. It's harder to build muscle the first time than it is to bring it back the second time. So have faith in that. Hopefully that's a little bit of encouragement. It's not going to be what it was. It's not going to be the exact same. Your performance isn't going to be the exact same. But again, that's not exactly the goal that we're going for right now, guys. So thank you for tuning in for this long-winded video. We're super excited to see you this Friday. Love you guys. See you soon. David out.